Thank you, Chairman Doyle. And this is such an important hearing on disinformation and how it divides the nation. I constantly by Mark Zuckerberg that he doesn't want to be, and I quote, the arbiter of truth. But I think that that absolutely misses the point. And I know that Dr. Fareed is there, and in his written testimony, he talks about how certain disinformation or conspiracy theories are amplified on platforms like Facebook. And the problem caused by Facebook has nothing to do with truth and falsity, in my opinion. It's about what they amplify or don't. And it may go to a fundamental problem with Facebook's business model. So last month, the Wall Street Journal published an article entitled Facebook Executives Shut Down Efforts to Make the Site Less Divisive. And I'd like to introduce it for the record. It's here. And I think that this article shows that Facebook understands the problem but won't address it. I guess I should ask unanimous consent of you to enter it into the record, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. So let me ask Dr. Fareed, do you believe the major platforms understand that they are promoting disinformation and conspiratorial content, and could they address it if they wanted to?
Thank you, Congressman. So first of all, I think you're absolutely right about the landscape here. The Wall Street Journal did a very good job of revealing what we've known for a long time, which is that Mark Zuckerberg and the C-suite in Facebook knows that they are peddlers of hate, divisiveness, conspiracies, because it's good for business. So they've known this for a long time. The algorithms have learned this to the tune of $70 billion last year in revenue, and they could do something about it. They absolutely could, but it would, of course, reduce engagement and therefore reduce profits. And so there's just, this is what sort of our problem with these business models of social media, is that they're misaligned with individual societal and democratic goals, because they have figured out that they can tap into the lowest common denominator of humans. So it's like any other addictive substance, right? These things are tested in order to keep us addicted, in order to tap into the things that we are not necessarily positive for society. And so you can blame us, and you should blame the users for this, for falling into this trap. But the fact is that we are being manipulated by the algorithms in order for them to simply get our data and provide advertising dollars to us.
Well, thank you. So, I mean, these platforms may bias towards conspiracy theories, but I think the problem is made 10 times worse when important figures and government officials peddle disinformation or conspiracy and hate that feeds these platforms. So let me ask Ms. Collins-Dexter, in your written testimony, you discuss how some public figures peddle disinformation to the masses with few, if any, repercussions. And as we know, President Trump is one of those public figures. So let me ask you, how has President Trump used social media to spread or amplify disinformation that is harmful to Black Americans and otherwise inflame racial tensions? And you also mentioned that social media companies like Facebook are not fact-checking posts consistently, such as those related to mail-in voting. And so what is the effect of that inconsistent fact-checking? So first with the racial tensions, and second with the mail-in voting as examples, if you could, Ms. Collins-Dexter.
Yes, thank you, Congressman. We've pointed out several different examples over the course of this in the ways in which commentary around protesters and this depiction of Black Lives Matter as a terrorist organization has had deep impacts in terms of harms to people on the ground. But another way in which I've seen the president push disinformation is actually some of his early commentary on COVID-19 and his push that lupus medication was actually what people should be using. Now, if you look, again, disproportionately, Black people are impacted by COVID, also disproportionately impacted by lupus and a number of other autoimmune diseases. It runs rampant in my family, for example. So that piece of disinformation allowed to stand that caused a run on lupus medication actually actively harmed people. My sister couldn't get her medication. There were a number of different issues. So that's just one example I would raise.
And what about the mail-in ballots and, comments about that?
Again, this danger, we've talked about the fact that vote by mail is very safe. There's research that shows that in elections, it has 0.0025% chance of fraud or something like that. So to promote that is a fraudulent practice, it has implications also for Black people going to polling places, which we know are being closed down. standing in long lines, not being able to engage in democracy safely.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Thank you.